Welcome to the Art of Selling Art. My name is Jason, and every Thursday we do a live coaching session in our open group on Facebook. And the link to the Facebook group is below. This Thursday, just a few hours ago, we spoke about creating effective portfolios. And this ended up being a really good follow up to last week's Coaching Over Coffee, where we talked about artist statements. So the two really go together, and there's a link to the YouTube version of that chat below, along with a link to our Facebook group. In today's chat, we went a little long. It's usually about 30 minutes, but we ended up talking for like 50 because the whole portfolio discussion is pretty dynamic. Like, who do you make portfolios for and how are they different in each iteration? For me, most of the portfolios I make are when someone responds to one of my ads or responds to me from organic media and says, hey, I'm looking for a piece of art for my wall. I spend a little bit of time curating a little bit of collection for them so they can get an idea of what fits into the preferences and ideas and feelings that they gave me when I asked what kind of art they're looking for, right? So this training goes over how do you make a effective portfolio for specifically for like juried events and competition, and how to do it in a more practical manner when you are reaching out and talking to collectors or potential collectors, and as they discover you through the internet or through an art show or something like that. So enjoy this. It starts right after this little introduction. And if you have any questions about it, the place to ask is in our Facebook group. Again, linked below. You can also ask on YouTube, but I spend most of the time interacting and coaching artists in our group. So find your way there. Cheers. Okay, so last week we talked about artist statements, and this week we're talking about portfolios or curating portfolios for sales, basically. And I feel like this is a really good follow-up to last week's discussion on artist statements, and I'll put the link into the chat here in a moment for everyone. But the last week's discussion on artist statements talked about creating statements for a specific body of work, right? There's 4 different types of statements you can write for your art business. There's the artist statement, which is about a specific body of work. And then there's the story bio and the artist story. I'm stumbling with my words. Artist statement, artist bio, story bio, and why statement. Most artists confuse their story bio and their artist statement, and they write an artist statement that really includes a lot of history about themselves, instead of writing an artist statement that is specifically about a specific body of work in the artist portfolio. So if we go from last week's training to this week's training, we wrote a specific artist statement about a specific body of work, and now we're going to show you that specific body of work. And I think that's going to be really, really useful for a lot of you if you're following along over multiple trainings. And since I mentioned it, let me grab that training from last week. And I'll put a link to it in the Facebook chat. So link to the post. Make a copy of that, and I will add that to our Facebook Live. Okay, so you'll be able to go back and watch that after this training. All right. So this week we're talking about artist training or artist creating effective portfolios, and let's jump into it. I've already spent a bunch of time rambling, giving people a chance to sign on. So here we go. All right, creating an effective portfolio. And Ross, I'm not looking at my video, so if you want to say something, just shout out.
All right, you got it.
Okay, so what does that even mean? A portfolio is a collection of an individual's work, carefully selected and organized to successfully showcase their skills, achievements to a specific audience. All right, this is really important because you can create one portfolio. And we're talking about specific portfolios for presenting a body of work to people. I'm not talking about your entire artist website that has your landscapes and your seascapes, or your plein air paintings in the jungle and your plein air paintings of mountains. We're talking about a specific body of work that you're presenting to somebody for something, right? Whether it's for a juried exhibition or for some sort of art competition or for portfolio review. What's really important is that you tailor your portfolio to the specific audience. And I'll share with you what, how or why I normally make portfolios for people, right? Curation means culling, right? Curation means cutting. Curation means taking 50 pieces and turning it into a presentation of five, right? So taking 10% of, taking your body of work and taking your best 10% of it and showing that to someone in order to uh, convince them of something, right? Present them your work or something like that. So uh, this is really, really important, right? Let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so curation means culling. The effectiveness of a portfolio is determined by how well it achieves its purpose, right? And its purpose is what did you mean for it to do? Did you mean to get into an art exhibition? Did you mean to present someone with a few options so they could buy their work, buy your work, right? That's how we grade our portfolios. That's how we decide whether we did a good job or not. What was the purpose of the portfolio? This means beginning with the end in mind. Okay, so if you have a art competition for black and white portraits, then how well did you show your range in black and white portraits? Okay, right. And who is the portfolio intended for? Is it for a client, an organization, or a jury? 99% of the time, 99.9% of the time, I make portfolios on the fly for potential customers. So these are my ads. Well, this is the response to my ads. When someone answers one of my ads on Facebook, they get brought into a discussion or a messenger conversation. And one of the questions is, "Hey, can you tell me a little bit about your space? Is it, what do you want to feel?" And then sometimes, or most of the time, people answer they want to feel calm and wowed, and it's for their entryway. Or this person said they want to feel calm and energized. And this is really good. Like on a side note, my work is supposed to be about comfortable isolation. It's supposed to be about solitude, and it's supposed to be about making people feel okay to be alone. So the people who are answering my ads are asking for exactly the type of thing that I create. So this is awesome. So I'm going to make a portfolio for these people, right? And we're going to talk about making that. Some important things about your portfolio: quality over quantity. We hear this a lot, right? But like I said earlier, we're taking 50 photos and turning it into a collection of five. So how many images should be in your portfolio is determined by who the portfolio is for. If it's for a competition of some kind, for a juried event, or for a feedback session, then the feedback session will probably tell you how many pieces should be in it. uh, earlier or later last year, earlier last in December, I did a portfolio review inside of TASA, and I posted basically a template for how I wanted you guys to present your portfolios to me, and about 8 out of 10 of you did it wrong. Like 8 out of 10, it was like just gave me whatever the hell you wanted instead of reading the directions. Okay, so I wanted 5 images and a blurb about your art. And like I said, I think 15 or 16 people replied, and 14 out of them, or maybe 13 out of them, didn't give me what I asked for. And that's really important. So quantity, I wanted 5, right? So this is how most portfolio reviews function. And you have to go with the best quality over the amount of quantity, right? A lot of people in this group will write to me when they're learning about what the paid program is for and about, and they'll say, "I have 1,000 paintings that I need to sell," and I will reply to you saying, "No, you don't. Okay, you don't. If you have 1,000 paintings, you need to sell your best 100, right? And then go make more paintings, right? Maybe make your best 200." Okay. Your practice is not your art, right? Just like your practice is not your creme de la creme of your portfolio. So quality over quantity. Cohesion with a tiny bit of diversity, right? So if your portfolio is supposed to include 5 images, then I would include 4 images that are spot on for what people asked for. And then I would include a fifth image that is 1 or 2 degrees of separation from the original, from the main ask. And the reason is you want to, especially when it comes to selling something to someone, and not specifically for an art competition, you want to give them what they asked for, but then you also want to show them what they might be missing, right? Because they may not have the full scope, or they don't have the fullest idea of what they're looking for, and they don't have the full perspective of what you can do, especially if they're just coming in off an ad. If they come in and off an ad, then they haven't seen your website yet. They haven't seen the breadth of your work. So give them what they asked for, and then take a degree or two and show them something else that might fit. So I like to add again a degree or two of variation. So if there's 10 images, then maybe you'll take two of those images and take a step out of specifically what they're looking for. I actually had someone in an ad or respond to my ad wanting something blue, but my autoresponder responds with this image. So I sent them a portfolio of blue, but then they went back and were like, wow, I really like this red tree. And so then we had to talk about that for a little bit. So giving them a little bit more exposure in your portfolio will help a lot when it comes to dealing with potential collectors. When it comes to dealing with specifically juried events, then you want to stay inside your lane or the lane that they provide, but you can also expand a little bit depending on how many images you can submit. All right, I'll take a quick look at the Facebook over here. Hey, what's up, Vanessa? Um, and David, what's up, guys? So checking back, coaching over coffee. All right. So organization, you want to organize your portfolio in a thematic order, especially if it's for some sort of organized event or a juried event, right? All of my images tell a story, right? So you want to be able to articulate that story through the presentation of your portfolio. So if your story is about, or if the, uh, I don't even know. Hold on, let me just think of something off the blue. Maybe Ross, you can throw something out. But if the story that you're trying to tell with your portfolio is about, I keep going to world hunger in my head, but it could be something more fun and more creative. Or like, someone posted, or I think it was Ali, the 2024, like what do you think 2024 is going to look like through your portfolio? You might start off with something that is very specific to a celebration and then go into a journey and then end with a celebration. So, that might be, but the order of those images is going to be celebration, journey, trial, celebration. But that's how I would organize that portfolio and make it a story so that as people are either flipping through a book or they are scrolling through PDF pages, they're able um, to experience the story with you, right? This is a link to the training. If anyone wants this PDF, just shout out in the comments below, and we'll get this PDF sent to you. And this link will take you right to the training for the artist statements. Right? You want to make the presentation clean and professional. Doesn't matter if it's a PDF or if it's delivered via a web page, which I've done pretty often, or if it's delivered via a physical medium, like a portfolio book or a paper thing of some sort, right? You want to make the presentation clean. So like I said here, I like big dominant images and small text. That's the stuffy gallery artist in me. I want big images and then small text. So I want people to be able to focus on the visual, but text is important. Context is important. And especially when it comes to a portfolio, because you'll have an artist statement. So you want to make sure that each image represents the artist statement that goes with the portfolio. Stay on topic. Okay. Ask yourself, is this bit of information relevant to the portfolio? Again and again, like, is this relevant? So I do this all the time, like whether I'm talking to somebody or I'm presenting education or making a portfolio. Is what I'm about to share with this person relevant? And if it's not, then it's a distraction. And the more distractions we have, the less chance we have of closing whatever deal we want to close, whether it's a sale or an art exhibition or whatever. So does it fill the audience's needs or answer their questions? And is it simply said, right? There's that acronym KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Like, can you take everything you just said and make it more simple, right? Make it more simple, but keep it clear. Right? We just did a website review with one of our TASA members, Julius, and he had these big blocks of text in this thing he was presenting. And I was like, Julius, can you just make this simpler? Can you take it and put it into ChatGPT and say, hey, can you simplify this? And it'll come out with more simplified text. Then you reread that text and say, does it still present the idea and the directions that they need to have? And if it does, then you win. If it doesn't, then you have to go back and edit. All right. Branding, right? Branding is a big question that a lot of artists have. Your portfolio can include your branding, but it should not include watermarks, right? I don't even put watermarks on my internet images anymore, right? I think that is distracting for one. And if people are going to steal my stuff, then I should be flattered because there's billions of images being made every day, millions, millions being made every day. So like you can include branding on the corner of your image or the corner of your portfolio page or on the facing page. In TASA, we talk a lot about making decks for people. Those are basically some small portfolios. And I always put my branding, like my signature, on the cover page of the deck that I send to people when they're like interested in a piece of art. So let me see if I have one on my desktop. PDFs. Unclaimed images. Let me see what this looks like. Actually, we should go over this. Actually, yeah, we will go over this here in a second. Okay, let me go back to our shared thing. Scope creep, I'm going to do something I wasn't planning on doing. Anyway, curating your best work. So this is really important. So ask yourself, does this art represent my best and my latest work? Okay, so if you're presenting your work to people, sometimes you don't want to present your newest stuff, but in general, depending on the competition, is it your best and your newest best work? And does it fit into or does it fit in with the other pieces you selected? So if you had a collection of 10 images and you have to choose between these 10, which ones best fit together? And then is this the body of work that my audience asked for? Okay, so if someone asked for something that's calm and energizing, do all of these images fit that criteria? All right. And then you want to end on a strong note. Okay, this is really important. So recency bias is a real thing. Begin and end the portfolio with a bang. Okay, so we talked about adding an image that extends the scope of your work, extends the breadth of your presentation. And we want to end the portfolio, the last image in the portfolio with one of your strongest pieces, if not the strongest piece in the portfolio, because that's the piece that people are going to remember. Recency bias is that people are generally inclined to remember an experience by what happened last. All right. So end on a strong note. Right. We can now let's go look at some portfolios or a portfolio that I was going to make for someone who is interested in buying my work. And we can look at the portfolio that I just brought up. But before I do that, Ross, do you have any inputs? Are you still here?
Yeah, just one little thing that came to mind when you were talking about paring down information to make it more digestible and more succinct. I see this with filmmaking. Steven Soderbergh, actually, his films, he spends a lot of time paring down his scenes until he can't cut out any more. And he keeps asking himself, do I still get the idea across with the least amount of visual information possible? And it's the same for writing too. So that's the only thing I would add here.
Yeah, I think it's a really important skill. Cropping your art is a good skill, cropping
Writing.
your portfolio. Yeah. Hey, David, did you have anything? This must be a better time because I never see you on the roundtables.
Actually, I was just interested in this topic. I'm actually still at work, so no, I just wanted to kind of listen in.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
All right, so I wanted to share my screen. Just share my whole screen. Desktop. We have that portfolio, Facebook. Okay, so here we go. You saw in one of the ad screenshots that I gave you that someone was looking for something that was calm and energizing. So what I normally do when someone responds to any of my Facebook ads is I will give them a few images to get them started, right? And I'll say something like, hey, here's a few images based on what you said. Can you, and then I'll ask them some more questions so I could really define what it is they're looking for. Like, so this person, one of those people said they're looking for something to be um, calm and wow. Is that what they said? I forget. Calm and energized. And they're also looking for their entryway. Okay. So I just grabbed a bunch of panoramics because that was really easy for me to grab. And we're looking for calm plus energy. All right. So we have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine pieces here that I can share with this person, but I'm not going to overload them with options, right? That's what is that called? Option paralysis or decision paralysis. We're going to give them like three or four images, and one of those images has to be a step outside of what they asked for. All right. So if I'm thinking calm and I'm thinking energy, then I need them to have um, something soothing, but also with something with that has a little bit of excitement in it. So this image would be one of the first that I cut off my list, right? Because this is just all calm. There's no energy in this. This is just relax and lose yourself for a moment in this. So let's take this and move it this way. Um, Another one that I would maybe, I like this one because it's got some really bright colors, but the composition is also very calming, very symmetrical. It's got some energy in that wave. It's got some energy in the colors that are in this. So this would be one of my first choices, but I don't know what colors they want in their space. So I'm going to include a little bit of variety in that. I think I would also include one of my newest pieces, which is Pele as well. And it's got a lot of motion. So it's got a lot of energy in the motion of everything that's happening in the image. So I would include that and maybe even include this one because it's also got that peacefulness of the scene, but the energy of being away, like the energy of being on a journey or on an expedition or a vacation of some kind. So, so now we're at three. But again, I don't know anything about this space other than it's for an entryway. So if I was going to include a fourth one, right, we've got yellow, we've got blue, and we've got pink. So I guess I would go with the black and white. And I could choose either this piece from Iceland or this new piece from Death Valley. And I really like this, my own recency bias. This piece is really powerful for me. It's a new collection that I'm creating, and I get to talk about it a little bit if I choose this one. And it's called Taken Away. So it's a little bit of symmetry and calm in the compositions, but it's also got that thematic taken away, going on an adventure, taken away from where you are right now, and re-energizing yourself. So I would choose these, and I would maybe hold in reserve this one and this one, and these would go in the back, right? So I took nine images and I turned it into one, two, three, four. And then what I would do is I would put these into a deck of some sort and present that to them. So what does a deck look like? We've got 6 minutes. Let me check back, make sure I'm not missing any of those comments. Um, so Gail says, she never considered cropping her portfolio before. And yeah, I think cropping is an art all on its own. It's a really powerful thing that a lot of people don't do. Eh, And what you leave out of an art piece or what you leave out of a presentation is what helps you narrow the focus. I mean, this is one of the principles of sales. Like the ABCs of sales, when creating clarity, one of the frames of clarity is how do you or what do you leave out so that people can focus on what is really important here. Um, Thor as well, yeah, you recognize the spot. That's not Thor as well, actually. That's Pele's well in Hawaii. I have pictures from Thor as well, but none of them are good. And again, like I have excellent pictures of Thor as well, but none of them fit into my portfolio or my ideas. So it doesn't go into my actual website. It just lives on social media one time 5 years ago. Um, Let me see if there's anything I missed. If you guys have questions, just drop them in here. And again, I'll check back. Is there something I've never considered before? Okay. So I have another portfolio that this is old, right? This is something that I slapped together, but I think it's a really good example because there's mistakes in this. This is the first version of report of a deck that I made for an NFT collector. And they ended up picking up two pieces out of this, which totaled like $700 or $800. So but it wasn't this whole thing. So this is what I meant by adding branding to your portfolio. This is a PDF that I sent them. It's got my name, it's got, my contact information on the cover page and my signature. That's pretty much all I have for branding, except for the actual presentation of my art. I mean, that's really the bulk of my brand. But my brand is simple, clean stuff. So Unclaimed Faces is a collection of portraits that I've taken since I started. The second page was a bio page, and then some authority statements, and then we get into the portfolio. So, even this, I feel like my updated story bio is even more simple than this, but it includes my picture and then authority statements are really important if you have any, because this is how we get people to recognize that we're an expert on our own art. If you want to learn more about the authority thing, check out or ask for in the comments, ask for the masterclass. That's one of the free trainings I have. And one of the first things I talk about in that is creating authority in your business. Right. So here's this portfolio that I curated out of like 10 years of art, right? And we can already tell there's some major things that are wrong with this portfolio. This was the first version that I had made before culling. So we're talking about street photography that I've taken over the years, right? This is actually one of the first portraits I've ever taken, and I was in Afghanistan, right? But we have black and whites, and then we have color, and then we have some random photo from Afghanistan, and these personification images and children and color and so the first thing I would do is let's cull this. Let's start cutting. And this is what I did. Can I draw on this? Add a signature. This draw. Okay. So if I was creating this portfolio, I don't the color versus black and white is an argument that we've had a lot, but let's just say we want to make sure that this thing stays more consistent. So I want to take out anything that doesn't really feel like an actual portrait, right? This one would go away. I actually did sell this one, but I would have removed it if the guy didn't ask for it specifically. These behind the scenes would have been great for marketing. I could have put this in the story section, but not as part of the portfolio. This animal portrait, someone did end up buying this, but I wouldn't have put it in this portfolio, right? This is like a travel photography moment. It's not really a street photo. It is a street photo, but the presentation of it is more travel photography, right? This piece is way too edited. I would have taken that out. Same with this one, right? Samba Isle, this doesn't feel like a portrait. It feels like a travel photography piece. Same with this. Even though this one actually has a lot of feeling, it's you can't see it, but it was a really nice moment with this kid out here exploring the flats. But these feel like travel photography moments, not portraits of people that were taken. This was taken in Afghanistan. And so we still have the color debate, whether or not we're going to include color. I would remove this. So, we're taking, I think, 40 images and we're bringing it down to something much smaller, right? This is more travel photography than street portrait. Same with this one. Okay, so now we have a much simpler collection, but we don't have it curated enough, right? So if I was looking over this with one of you guys, I would say, okay, most of these images are very direct on the faces. So even though some of these were taken and are good photos, I don't feel like they fit into this portfolio. So we could also cull out this guy and this black and white version, right? But which of these are meaningful to the story in any way, right? This one is more of a street portrait, right? Even though this photo, all of these are outdoor portraits or portraits taken like while out experience and things. So I would probably remove this if I had to go, depending on the number of images I could submit. And these images with the kid, they don't really fit that well. I don't feel like.
Jason,
Yeah,
can I just say, I think I learned so much more efficiently by seeing your thought process here. So thank you for doing this particular part of the video.
welcome. Just hack it up. Just hack this whole thing up, you know? I think having or being able to present a powerful collection of images, and then your potential buyer can say, I like this, and then you can say, oh, well, I have something similar that might fit. And oh yeah, this can go. This one I originally thought fit because it was in Afghanistan, and this is was my first time like really using my camera to capture people. So I had included this as part of the Afghanistan story, but at the same time, it really doesn't fit. Like it's part of my story being out there, but I can still sum the story up with the first image and just, use this as a supporting image if I'm telling the story online, but not really include it in this portfolio. So what else can we cut out of this? All right, these are all cut. So there's the color versus black and white debate. And a majority of these images are in black and white. So even though I really like this is one of my best street portraits, I'm going to cut out all the color ones. And doing so, I feel like will allow the black and whites to all stand out on their own. If I wanted to make a side portfolio or a second portfolio and drop some color images, then we could do that. All right, so we had 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 22, 24, 30, 36, 38 images in this portfolio, and now we have significantly less. So we can tell we can share a much more powerful experience for someone who only has to scroll through 18 or 20 images versus having to scroll through 36. Does that make sense? Does that feel like something you guys could do? Some of these images are really strong. Like this image is really strong and tells a really story about like living in a city and having fun in the summer and all that stuff, but it doesn't fit with this guy from Marrakesh or this is a salt farmer in the Philippines, and this is a husker in Morocco, right? That doesn't really fit with kids playing in the summer, right? Or a guy playing cello in Central Park. So if I want to tell this story of, seasoned people and who I've come across, then, these stories don't fit. So let's cut them out. So we cut this one out too. Even this one, like we're talking about experiencing people in the as we travel, and this was a really cool moment. I remember when I shot this, I was thinking about I was mad actually because this kid was drinking Coke, and I was like, no matter where I go in the world, there's nowhere I can go in the world where Coke hasn't been before me. So I was feeling like, where am I going to get an original experience? And later I just thought that they I don't have to be the first to experience something for it to be original for me. But that's the story with the kid with the Coke. All right, let me go back and check for questions. So, all right, Ali's got some people. I'm going to have to come back since I'm working. Yeah, this will be recorded on the timeline. How did I miss that masterclass, Christian? Um, Ali's got you. Something's wrong with my mic. I hope that got fixed because that was 10 minutes ago and I've just been rambling here.
I've been
Rakesh
hearing.
says I have some seriously lousy pictures from Pele as well. Also, um, yeah. I also have some really bad pictures, Rakesh, from Pele as well, but I managed to get one that worked. Well, it's actually like six, but I put them together. Anyway, all right, so we're 10 minutes over. I'll give it a few minutes for any last minute questions. It looks like there's uh maybe half a dozen people here. Let me refresh this. Ross, I heard you say something.
Oh, I was just saying I haven't had any problems with your sound, so I've heard
Okay,
you.
very cool. So again, like I feel that doing or creating an effective portfolio is about culling until you get to the shortest, to the most um, powerful images that you can share that are relevant to the purpose of the portfolio, right? And I think I didn't talk about this one important thing. So let me just share my screen one more time. And here it is. So how can you call your portfolio confidently, right? So get feedback. Who is in your inner circle that you can ask for honest feedback? It doesn't help if you share your portfolio with people and they're like, "Oh, I love them all," right? Go to your meanest friend, right? Who's your meanest friend and ask them to look at your body of work, right? So ask them this question. If I had to remove one image from this collection, which would it be and why? So let's say you take those original 9 images and you put it into your chat and you say, hey, if you guys had to remove or ask one person, if you had to remove one image from this question, from this collection, which one would it be and why? All right. Then let them remove it. There's no pressure. There's no, don't take it personally. This is the one they think they would remove. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. And then you take your 8 images and take those 8 images to another friend. All right. If you had to remove one image from this portfolio, take it out and why. And keep doing that until you get to 5. All right. Um, if you guys want to share your portfolios in this group after this training, you can do that. You can share it in the Facebook page, in our Facebook group. And this is how I want to have it shared. So you're going to share a single image containing the artwork you've curated into a portfolio, right? So just like I had that graphic with the 9 images on it, you're going to take one image, like 8 by 10, and or 4 by 5, 8 by 10, and put your images on it for your portfolio, right? The body of your text should contain your artist statement and your for the images, right? So if you haven't done the artist statement video, you can go back and watch that. But basically, I'm asking you to make a post in our Facebook group. You're going to post one image that contains the photographs or paintings or artworks in it, and the body of your post is going to have your artist statement, right? And that's what you're going to share. So if you want to share your portfolio, that's how I want you to do it. And then you can you just be present, okay? So if you get critical feedback, you might get constructive feedback, you might get critical feedback. Uh, that's what you're here for, right? You're here to grow. So that requires a little bit of feeling change, and I don't want to call it pain, but growing pains. So one image, one post, right? Only do the one post. And then post no more than one portfolio, even if you have more than one body of work. This is just an exercise for the Facebook group. You don't need to share everything, right? If you do post, again, you probably want to go and look through the group and comment on someone else's stuff. Okay, that's how we get feedback, right? That's our creator economy. So our creative energy or our attention economy. You give, you get, right? You give 2x to hope to get 1x back. So I hope that's clear. If you want to share your portfolio in the group, then please do it this way. And that's a wrap. For the members watching this, you can share your portfolio in the members group and get a little bit more feedback. What's up, Tracy? I'm glad you made it in. Roberta needs to prepare a few portfolios for applications, so I will have to catch up with the recorded video. Yep, that's cool. So Vanessa asked, this training is about specific portfolios for a collector or for a competition. Yeah, that's what this is about. For your website, you'll organize your work into larger portfolios that are more thematic based and not necessarily so hyper curated. But again, I still feel like if you have 1,000 pieces of artwork, your website doesn't need to include 1,000 pieces of art. It should just have your best work, right? And then if you sell out of your best work, then that's freaking awesome. You can start moving some of your next roll of work in. But, excuse me. But if you have 1,000 pieces of artwork and you take 50% of it and put it on your website, then you're going to leave people with too many options and not enough space in their mind or attention to make a decision. So there is some culling that should go on your website. For instance, I've been a photographer or a guy with a camera since 2006. I have terabytes of images and I have terabytes of completed images I've edited and decided they were done. And my website only has 120 images on it. Okay. 120 tops. I haven't counted, but it's pretty low, right? 120 portfolio pieces in my website. So, present people your best work, present people your most original work, especially if you're a photographer. There's a lot of photographers taking pictures of the same shit. And I'm a photographer. So I'm saying this with a little bit of love and a little bit of chagrin. There's a lot of people who go out to Pele as well and take a picture, or Thor as well and take a picture. If it's not creme de la creme, if it's not original in some way, if it's not the best work, or if you can't say it's one of the best pieces from that space, then don't add it to your portfolio. It doesn't help you any, right? So, so yeah, I don't think that works. All right, so I'm gonna cut it there, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Next week we're gonna talk about. I'll give you guys the option, just like we did last week. So 3 options for those of you who are still listening. We can talk about pricing strategies, or we can talk about using social media for marketing, or website building. So those 3 options for next week's coaching over coffee. What do you guys want to talk about? Leave it in the comments, and I'll hang out for a minute or two. So pricing strategies, utilizing social media for marketing, or creating an engaging artist website. Let's see what you guys want to talk about. Ross says social media for marketing in our group chat. Marketing, of course, everyone wants to talk about marketing. Yeah. So let me put this little seed in your head, right? Everyone wants to talk about marketing, but I feel like having your foundation set, a good website, and the ability to articulate your art and your story, I feel like having those things in place before we talk about marketing will be more important, right? So make sure that when I talk about marketing, you realize that social media is a window and then your website is the shop. So we need people to go to your shop, but we need your shop to make sense. Right? If it's a cluttered store that there's no navigation, there's no way of people understanding your story and getting to know you at the same time, then you might be missing the mark on your you might be diminishing your ability to close sales because people can't experience your customer journey type stuff. So it looks like we'll talk a little bit about marketing next week, and we'll go from there. Cheers, guys.
That was great. Thanks, man.
Welcome.